Hey guys, welcome to Strategic Timeout to the Fantasy IPL 2023 picks. Today we are going to talk about match 25, the Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Mumbai Indians. But before that, we have to talk about the crazy six-hitting fest at Chinnaswamy last evening between Chennai Super Kings and Royal Challengers Bangalore. Almost another 200 chase. Came close to IPL history, but nevertheless, as an RCB fan, very tragic evening for me, but I can see my peers very happy here. Uh, so yeah, guys, what are your thoughts on it?
Same old story, man. It's exactly what we've been talking about RCB. I think every game, right? Once Maxwell and Faf set the platform, couldn't have set it better for a 220 chase. They were like what 120 odd in 10 overs. It was the perfect platform, but then implosion just because none of the middle order after Maxwell has it in them. So yeah, I mean, usual, nothing new to add as such. Sad loss.
Yeah. If you look at a lot of the other IPL teams, I think they take a lot of confidence from their batting in the middle order and lower order. So I think that's one constant problem with RCB for a very long time, and the fact that they have not yet, still sorted out the strategy around who bats at five, six, seven, and then if they can give them consistent performances, I think that is a fact that they've been lamenting for long.
Yep.
Yeah, sending Parnell up was just shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, some surprising moves, I think. But yeah, a lot of fantasy gems. I think we called out two bold picks who turned out well. That was Conway and Maxwell. I think both of
Yep.
them were stellar performances, would have been man of the matches for their respective teams, depending on who won. So Conway was it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope we get the bold picks right for today also. But before that, let's jump into the playing 11s. So these were the playing 12s rather, not 11s anymore in IPL. So these were the playing 12s for SRH and Mumbai. So Jammu, do you think SRH, do you see any changes in playing 11 today?
No, I don't think so. I think for the last couple of matches, they have sort of figured out a stable 11, I would say, in terms of how they are approaching the game. Still, the bowling is not as cohesive as the management would want to be, but there's a lot of variety. You see a left armor, right armor swing bowler. You see Markande in good form in terms of picking leg spin wickets. Umran is always your pace attack option with tremendous pace, and Natarajan giving you those Yorkers at the death, right? So they have gotten a good bunch. I think I'm more happy seeing SRH batting unit now in terms of how they performed, and the likes of Tripathi, Makram, and Klassen, they can actually take bowling attacks apart. And then not to mention that Harry Brook is in stellar form. He found form last game, and then Mayank is yet to fire. So to me, this looks to be a very stable SRH 11.
Vishnu, do you think any changes for Mumbai? Both teams are in very similar position, having won two, lost two, starting with two losses and sort of coming into victories. And do you think they make any changes for SRH, particularly to tackle the SRH team?
Yeah, no, big game today. And I think Mumbai have sort of struggled with getting their 11 in place, right? And having won two in a row early in the season, which is rare for Mumbai nowadays. But having hit like a winning combination, I don't think they'll change it. I don't think there are many options either to change. The only possible is if Jofra is back. I think he walks in for Duan Jansen. Um, Apart from that, I think the rest of the team look good. Even Mr. Tendulkar, I think, keeps his spot for the day.
Yeah, I think finally seeing the name Tendulkar on our 11 brings back nostalgia, right? Like a lot of memories. Hopefully, we keep seeing it. And yeah. So, all right. I think two form teams who have suddenly hit form in the last part of IPL. So now coming to the fantasy picks, a lot of players in form started turning around. So Vishnu, who would be your two names you would say as goodbyes for today's match?
I think first name for me is definitely Markram. Um, he's been in good form. He's come into the tournament with good form. Had a bad first innings, but then has just picked up from where he was before the tournament. Looked really, really good last game. And of course, Mumbai's bowling is among the weaker ones, right? And I think he's the one who's likely to capitalize on it. Second name on my mind is again, I think Tilak Verma, just going by form, going by the way he's just playing, the way he's striking the ball. Uh, I think, coming in at one down has given him a lot of confidence with the likes of Rohit and Ishan and, David and Surya, all aggressive players around him. I think he becomes good fantasy wise because I think he racks up the runs. So I think these two are like the first two names on my mind.
I think for Mumbai, it's more like Tilak and Surya will come out depending on among Ishan and Rohit get out, right? I think they'll keep
Correct.
that left hand, right hand
Left, right.
combination.
Yeah.
So I think these
Yeah.
top four sort of look pretty much set now, considering how they have come in the last two games. So yeah, so I think great middle order batting picks here. Jammu, who would be your couple of names if you would have to say for today's game?
I definitely go with Harry Brook as one, not just because he is coming back from scoring a century, but he looked in fabulous touch. So I feel he's sort of he's gotten into the right mental space when you consider a tournament as big as IPL, and I personally back him to find that purple patch now going forward. In terms of the other two choices, I think Vishnu rightly pointed out Markaram Tilak. I feel there's a turn of fortune for Surya as well because of the way he went about his business. So for me, Surya becomes an X factor buy, and I would definitely love to see him on my the team that I pick for the fantasy.
Yeah, I think Surya has become more of an X factor now, considering still teams might not hold for him as they did in the early part of the season. So yeah, I think
Yep,
and reverse goes for Brook, right? Like Brook, who was not in many squads because of his 100 and a lot of recency bias, will come into a lot of squads and and arguably makes a case also. Showed a lot of uplift form, spoke a lot in the presentation, and sort of is trying to get that confidence going. So I think a more of a
correct,
confidence player, and we have seen Brook right in international stage. Once he starts hitting, he just keeps hitting. So yeah, I think
correct.
Brook is a great pick. Any so now we have spoken lots about the batsmen, right, for both the teams. So there are some more batsmen whom we have not spoken in the top order. One is Tripathi and Mayank, and the other in this side is Ishan and Rohit, like the openers for Mumbai. So among these two, like Vishnu, what do you think about Mayank and Tripathi? Are they X factors or they are still like waiting? What?
I think in the two pairs you mentioned, the only name which excites me is Tripathi, honestly. Mayank just looks like a shadow of his like the batsman he was. Rohit is too inconsistent. I think considering his price, it's just tough to back him. And Ishan Kishan, I think is a good pick, but again, I think with SRH bowling, I think like the left armers will definitely trouble him a little. But considering how he was playing last game, yeah, I think he's an X factor. But Tripathi is a name I really like. I mean, he's been looking good. He's obviously had ups and downs. He played one or two very good innings, but got out very cheaply in the other two. So I think I mean, with Mumbai's bowling and with him wanting to prove himself and with, he plays spin pretty well. So I think overall, I think Tripathi is the name that stands out among the top order for me.
So yeah, I think we have covered top order. So Jammu, what do you think about the middle order of both the teams, right? Like our likes of Klassen, Abhishek Sharma for SRH, same as with a Green and a Vadera, right? Like Vadera and Abhishek Sharma, personally to me are sort of their roles are not defined how many deliveries they get, but like what do you
Yeah.
think about a Klassen and a Green and maybe even a David, uh, for example, in this?
Yeah. So I think Klaasen and David, if the teams are batting first, have sort of a similar role, right? I see them sort of facing 15-20 deliveries if the top order fires. And again, if there's the collapse in the top order, they might come in and try to play a slower innings, right, by their own standards. So I feel depending on the toss, it becomes important that you're getting that X factor right. I would probably choose between David or Klaasen if deciding based on the team which is batting first. One thing to definitely keep in mind is these are two players who can tonk the ball a long way, and at the same time, they have sort of shown some bit of consistency in the past couple of games. Klaasen, the last game he came out attacking, and even with Tim David, right, he was definitely sent with the intention that he has to bring up the net run rate for Mumbai. So both these guys are good finds for me. Uh, Sort of Cameroon Green is someone who I'm not really looking at right now as someone who's a definite starter in my team, because his role has changed, and I think Mumbai has found a better combination going with, say, the Tilak or Surya at number 3 and 4. So for the time being, I'm definitely looking at Klaasen and Tim David as my X factors, and then probably I'll go ahead and avoid Cameroon Green, because one, he might not get to face all the deliveries and a lot of deliveries, and he's not bowling you 4 overs.
I think one thing to add about David versus Klaasen, right? I think David um, definitely comes three down for me now. Like in that Mumbai setup, I think after Tilak and Surya, I think he's the one going to come to bat. So I think even chasing David is not a bad option in my view, at least. Like I really
Yeah.
like David. I think he's looking good. Um, yeah, like I preferred David over Klaasen.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
So
agreed
I
on
think,
Cam Green.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think in terms of the bowling, right? Like in terms of bowling, I think no bowler from either side has taken the IPL by storm so far, right? However, we have seen some sort of form turnaround, especially for the spinners of both the teams, especially the Markande and the Chawla for SRH and Mumbai respectively. What do you have to like? What is your thought about these two spinners? Are any of these still in your thoughts for the team? Are they X factors, or you'll still wait and watch because the top order of both the teams is hitting form?
I
I mean,
really
for
liked
me,
what I've seen. Uh, okay, go ahead, Vishnu.
hey, go ahead, go ahead.
So for me, what I've seen of the two, I have really liked, how they have not just say contained the batsman, but have picked wickets as well. Especially Markande. But uh, Piyush Chawla again is sort of a wait and watch for me, because he's not giving you, a lot of wickets. He's just someone who's putting a lot of pressure, and a couple of performances. I'm not even sure on his fitness levels, on how basically he's doing as an athlete. So for me, Markande is definitely an X factor, but Piyush Chawla, if say the SRH batting lineup goes going, is definitely an avoid.
What do you guys think about the pitch today? Does that factor in? Like, I think spin um, might work well, right? In Rajiv Gandhi.
Yeah, agreed. I think both Chahal and Markande had good performances, if I remember from first two games. So yeah, that way Chawla might. I'm also not like 100% sure whether a Chawla is a good or a bad buy for this game. Because yeah, as you rightly said, both I think Chahal had a 4 wicket haul, and then Markande also had a 4 wicket haul. So I think SRH has tend to show that affluence to leggies. So maybe a Chawla sort of because of the conditions comes into that. But yeah, as Jammu said, I think we'll have to wait and watch on his fitness. If because last game also he looked a bit stretched. So if Chawla is playing and if you are ready to wait till the toss, then maybe he's a good X factor. But if you're making team before that, yeah, I think just because of his fitness concerns, might be a wait and watch. What do you think of the death bowlers? Are any of the death bowlers of both the sides sort of exciting to you guys, or like none of them are sort of right now immediate fantasy picks in the long term season?
I think death bowlers, the one that sticks out to me is again Natarajan. Going by form, definitely not. He's not having the best of IPLs, but I think he still bowls bowls the death overs for SRH, and if Mumbai is batting first, he's always in the wickets. Matlab, he can always bag a couple at the death.
Yeah.
No other name stands out as such. What do you guys think of Umran Malik?
I don't really like him just because I think I was reading one comment while I was watching the last game that he hasn't made the best use of having Dale Steyn as his bowling coach. So to me, the problem is I don't see him bowling any slower ones. So the guy has got no variations, and we've probably been saying this for the last 2 to 3 years. And at the same time, even in terms of the lengths he bowls, right? Majority of the time, he's either on a good length or a short of a good length. So batsmen, in spite of having like a very fast bowler to face, they're finding it easy to get under the ball and tonk him for the massive sixes. So for me, he needs to get better in terms of consistency that he shows. He definitely have a couple of games during the course of the IPL where he takes 3 or 4 wickets, but that's the unpredictability, right? You deal with when you're working on fantasy sports. So I don't see him as someone who will hit a consistent sort of form. But you never know, right? With IPL, there are so many things that have happened differently in the past.
Yeah.
Yep. I think yeah, Umran for me also right now nowhere close to where he started last season. So would be a wait and watch, and maybe he comes into the reckoning as the season like sort of goes. So yeah, in terms of uncapped picks, I think we have already spoken about Attila, who I think is undoubtedly the best pick for today. The other two names
Yeah.
that sort of stick to my mind is Shawkeen, who picked up a couple of wickets. We have seen in the past that he bats and he bats well, right? So I think these two picks sort of are more standout. And if someone is looking for a very big differential, maybe an Abhishek Sharma or as we spoke about Tendulkar, Arjun Tendulkar sort of starting the games. But I think my belief is Tilak and Shawkeen should sort of be your standout two picks if you have to pick an uncapped player.
Agreed. Yeah.
So yeah, so interesting part of it. Now we have had some three good buys that we have sort of one budget, two premium, and lot of X factor decent picks. So if you have to go for two captain, like your vice captain and vice captain, first I'll start with Vishnu. Who would you go for it?
It's a tricky one. I mean, there's no standout, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah. But I think again, Markram does stand out for me, just because he's very consistent with runs. I'm not. He hasn't bowled yet, right? I'm
He
surprised
has
he
bowled
hasn't
in the
bowled
first
yet.
match. He bowled a couple of overs.
He's bowled a
After that,
couple of overs.
yeah,
Yeah.
after that he has not
Hmm.
bowled actually, which is a surprise to
Yeah.
me.
So let's see. Yeah. I mean, if their home ground favors spin so much, I'm surprised he's not bowled. So maybe we'll see him bowl, which again, sort of like Maxi getting a wicket yesterday, you can always expect Markram to do that as well. So he stands out. And for me, it's again Tilak Verma, just going by form. Like I would prefer him over Ishan and Surya just because of the predictability. Because both Ishan and Surya have been out of touch, so there's no guarantee. But Tilak, I think, is predictable. So I think these are my two picks.
Okay, Jammu, do you agree with the picks, or do you have any other players in mind for the captaincy today?
I definitely do agree to a large extent. But based on what I saw in the last game, I feel Brook and Surya are two strong contenders as well.
Yeah. All right. Jumping into the last segment for today's call. That's our Dream 11. So typically our Dream 11 managers always wait for the toss. So keeping that in mind, I think we have covered all of them and we are including Chawla. Hopefully he stays fit. And other than that, I think most of the players we have discussed here. I think the one player we have not discussed that extensively is Tripathi and maybe a Green, right? Like these are the two players who have shown glimpses of points, accumulation of points, but have not been that consistent. But as a Dream 11, having that X factor of going big on their day. So what do you have to say about these couple of players?
Again, I like Tripathi. I think he's a good batsman. And it's not like he's completely out of form. He's played well in 2 games.
Yeah.
So he's good. Green is just a very big question mark because he's lost that one down. You don't even know where he's coming to bat because last game even a Vadera came ahead of him. And even bowling, like last game he bowled in the power play, but then he didn't show up in the death overs, right? Like uh,
Yeah.
so it's just a big question mark. I think he comes good at some point in the tournament because he's a quality player. But I mean, you still have him in your team because of what he's capable of doing. Because he bowls, bats. We know he's an explosive player. So I think that way he makes Dream 11 squad. But yeah, bit of a wait and watch.
What the differentials, right? Some of the differentials that we have mentioned here, especially based on the who's batting first. Jammu, what do you have to say about, like, maybe we can start with if SRH bats first?
I definitely liked what I saw for Riley Meredith last game. So considering the fact that Venkatesh Iyer was going really strong, and the last over he was bowling to Andre Russell. I know he's not in the best of forms, but still he's Andre Russell, right? He can easily whack anyone for 2 or 3 sixes, in a space of good 5-6 balls. So I really liked what I saw of Meredith. He for me becomes a very good differential. I'm not sure. Say if Archer is not playing, if I pick a Duan Jansen or not, because again, early days into his IPL career. But at the same time, I think what we spoke about, say Klaasen or David, right? I think these two are the guys in a daily fantasy. They can easily give you a 15 ball, 35, 40 runs. So I would definitely be backing, anyone like that based on who's batting first. I would definitely be backing one of them to be in my team, just because they get that explosive hitting at the end, and are capable of giving you a good 50, 60 points with the bat and say 20, 30 another on the outfield.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I
And
think
I'm
I
surprised we haven't touched on his brother, Duan's brother, Marco,
Yep.
because and we do have a battle of the brothers today. But anyway, like Marco Jansen's looked really good. I mean, I think he was
Yep.
unlucky not to have more wickets last
More
game.
wickets. Yep.
Yeah, I think he should walk into the team. Like he's really good.
Correct.
yeah.
And going by the matchup he'll have against Rohit Sharma, I feel Rohit definitely is susceptible to a tall left arm pacer, like we have seen that in the past with say deliveries
Even
coming in.
Ishan.
So even Ishan,
Yeah.
Ishan again, if it's swinging big, he always finds himself in some technical trouble. So Marco Jansen has a very good chance of picking up some wickets early up.
Yeah. All right. I think in terms of possible avoids, the one name that sort of we haven't spoken is Sundar, right? Like we are not sure of what role Sundar is in the team. He has never bowled his quota of 4 overs. I think the maximum he has bowled is 2 overs. I think has largely gone wicketless, maybe a wicket here and there. Not sure. I don't think so, right? I think he's just gone wicketless. So
Yeah.
that's why I think these become avoid. Clear, he becomes an avoid who wasn't at the beginning of the season, but that's what IPL is about, right? We are into the fifth game for each of the franchisees. And Vadir and Abhishek, right now, the value they're adding is very limited. Both the top orders are hitting form. So in terms of how many balls they get at their roles is a question mark. But yeah, I think that would be the only names which are clear avoids right now for us. So coming to captaincy wise, the very last part. So we have picked up some safe choices in terms of Makrams, the Tilaks, and even Surya now. If you have to go for some bold picks, right? What would be the one name that both of you would sort of say would be your bold pick for today's game?
I'll choose Tripathi as a bold pick for my captain.
Yeah. We don't have Brook on the list. I don't know if he's bold or safe, but
I think now
if
Jammu has put him in a safe choice. Yeah.
yeah, I think I like Jansen to be honest. I think he has the potential to, especially if Mumbai bat first. I think he has the potential to bag a big haul with the ball.
Yeah, I think he's been showing that form, right? Like both the games he has picked up, I think he's pretty much green in whatever he has played. I think, yeah, he was
Yeah.
green over that. Could have had like 3 wickets points as we were discussing, or maybe even 4. So yeah, I think that sort of
And I
is
think
what.
one thing people sort of haven't realized with Jansen is that he's coming on the back of good batting form as well in the South African League. So I think there were a couple of games where he tonged Rashid for 3 or 4 sixes. At the same time, he was striking them over 180, 190 with the bat. So you never know, right? With IPL, someone can just come in and get those 10, 15 deliveries in and score a big one. So again, definitely becomes one of the bold picks for today.
All right. I think yeah, we have come to the last bit. So thank you guys for watching. All the best. Have a great match. We are game 25. Uh, it's gone by a breeze. I think now it's when the season sort of heats up. All the serious players start coming up in the league. So yeah, don't be disappointed if your ranks are very low because they'll certainly start picking up now. So yeah, all the best and see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Yeah, and don't be
Thanks,
disappointed
guys.
if you're a RCB fan.
Alare.
Thank you guys.